Namaskar. Welcome to this very special edition of Dil Se. Why do I say it's special? We started this journey way back in December 2023. The first episode was released on the 29th of December 2023. And since then, almost every week, we upload one discussion on issues important for the future of India. And today is the 100th episode of Dil Se. Now, why is it important? It's important because I believe that for India to really become Viksit Bharat, we need to have a focus on how India's economic policy should be crafted in the years to come. Since 2014, for the last 11 years, this government has been emphasizing or using its political heft to manipulate outcomes to continue to be in power, and in the process entirely neglected the economy. This is my personal view. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it. Now, I believe that if India is to be a global power, it must become an economic power. Because unless a country has economic heft, it cannot be a voice in the global community. In other words, it will not have a political voice which will be heard across oceans, across frontiers. Now, where are we as an economy? Quite frankly, if you look at the history of nations who have wielded political power, they have actually wielded economic power first, reflected in the rise of the United States of America, with Fort Knox having the kind of gold reserve that it had, and dollar became currency which everybody had to deal with and trade in. And in that process, they got military strength. And because of military strength and their investment in technology, they were able to determine as to how the world is going to trade and how the world is going to deal with each other. Now there has been the rise of China. But how did China rise? And how did China get political heft? It got political heft because it became an economic power. The GDP of the United States of America is around $30 trillion. The GDP of China is around $19 to $20 trillion. The GDP of India is about $4.2 trillion. Even the GDP of Japan is $4.2 trillion. How did Japan become a power to be reckoned with? It had no resources at all. But because of the electronics revolution, the technological revolution, it became an economic power. How did the Middle East become economic powers and have political heft? Because of the enormous resources that they have, which the world depends on. Now, what is it that India has done in the last 11 years to ensure that it becomes an economic power? And we're going to discuss that today with two extraordinary personalities who have actually put India in a direction so that it could become Viksit Bharat. And two people who I will be discussing this issue with are Yashwant Sinha ji. Thank you very much. You have IAS officer way back in 1960, and then you never wanted to continue in the IAS because in the JP movement you wanted to resign. But somehow you were restrained, and then in 1984 you took the plunge. You resigned, joined the Janata Party, and thereafter became the finance minister when we had to mortgage our gold to be able to, for the imports in this country. And then you joined the BJP in 1994, and then you were the finance minister from 1998 to 2002, and then the foreign minister from 2002 to 2004. So you know how politics works, both at the international level and here. And you were part of the liberalization process that was started with Dr. Manmohan Singh. And you took it forward, opened up the insurance sector, FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility Bill, telecom sector, and of course the highway program. You have been at the center of so many changes that took place, which brought the economy to a level that the growth was at 7.9% of the years to come. So thank you very much. We'll discuss this issue with you. Thank you for being with me. PC, you have been also, and you've been held several portfolios. You started way back when Rajiv Ji was there. You were Deputy Minister for, I think, Commerce, and then you were Internal Security. Then under Narsim Rao, again, you held very important policy on commerce, in fact, you drafted it. And then, of course, you became Finance Minister from 2004 to 2008, and then you became Home Minister from 2008 to 2012, and again Finance Minister from 2012 to 2014. In between, you were with other governments. You were with the I think, Gujarat government? Yes, Deva Gowda government. And you presented the 1997, they call it the Dream Budget. So you are the best people to discuss where India is going, where it should have gone, what's wrong with the policies of this government, and what should we be doing. First you, Yashwantji, tell me.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Actually, we are going nowhere.
Oh.
Because I think economy is an area where this government has very little interest. And all the figures, statistics that I have gone through before I came to your program would suggest that, number one, they are not credible. You know, this is the first time, I think, that government statistics are being doctored.
Oh, I see.
And therefore, they are not reliable, as I said.
But they still say 6.5% growth. They talk about that.
The last 11 years, the growth rate has been 6%.
Yes.
Static at 6%. We'll come to growth rate later. But the point I'm making is statistics are not dependable. Number two, the direction is not very clear. Number three, wherever even those statistics which can't be doctored, they are not put forth in the public domain. And some very critical figures have not come into public domain since 2022. And my own feeling is that this government is somehow convinced itself that even if you don't do anything, but you do a lot of propaganda of what you're doing, the people will be convinced that something good is happening. And that's something which succeeded for some time. It may not be succeeding now, but succeeded for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And to give you an example, a little away from the economic field, for instance, the Prime Minister is very fond of going abroad, though lately he has not done so because
on 3 occasions he's not
because of President Trump. But we have been led to, people of India have been led to believe that we are Vishwaguru. We are masters of the world. We are nowhere, as you mentioned, we are nowhere compared to the really developed nations. And to give you just one example, we are talking of Viksit Bharat, a developed India by 2047. Now, every person who knows a little bit of economics is asserting that if we want to become Viksit or developed by 2047, we must grow at the rate of 8% plus every year.
Right.
In the last 11 years, we have grown at the rate of 6%. So that will show the kind of effort which is needed. But as I said, neither in terms of the direction nor in terms of details for the various sectors of the economy, am I noticing any effort to give that direction to achieve 8% plus growth year after year until 2047. So we are faced again with one more jumla. Viksit Bharat by 2047. And unfortunately, nobody is delving into the depth of it to find out what it will take to achieve that objective.
There is no roadmap for Viksit Bharat.
There is nothing, no roadmap, either long-term or short-term, to convince the people that a government means business.
PC, what do you mean? How, according to you, has this government performed on the economic front from 2011 to now, 14 to now?
See, this government appears to be running, but there is a difference between running on a road and running on a treadmill. You are running, but on a treadmill, you stay where you are.
Okay.
If you're running on a road, you will move forward. See, this government is as good as no government. I'm convinced that even if there's no government in India,
It'll still grow at
India
6%.
will grow at 5.5%, because the people will grow crops, they will produce something, they will trade.
Domestic consumption will ensure
There's
that.
no government required. And as Yashwantji said, you see, they are manipulating the statistics. 2004 to 2014, IMF, World Bank accepted the statistics and said in those 10 years of the UPA government, the growth was 7.5%.
Yes.
What these guys did was they revised it downwards to 6.7%. Now the official statistics will show 6.7%.
They've changed the base here.
They've changed the base here, they have adjusted 6.7%. On the 6.7% lower base, as Yashwantji said, in the last 11 years, they have grown at sub 6%.
Oh, I see.
In fact, 2014 to 19, they grew at 6.1%. And since 2019, this year's result to be excluded, they have grown at only 5.2 or 5.3. So for the 11 years, they have grown at sub 6% on a lower base. Now, at 6% growth rate, we will never become anything other than a lower middle income country. We are in the trap. Lower middle income country. We won't break through the lower middle income country and become a middle income country and then a high growth country. At this rate, we are hopeless. Unemployment will rise. Poverty, relative poverty will be reduced, but in terms of comparison with other countries, we will still be poor. And jobs won't be made. Even today, only a small percentage of people are regularly employed. Others are all irregular employment, no social security, no statutory protection. But what...
And also underemployed. Those who are employed are also underemployed.
For example, if you have two people working on a farm and one guy comes, unemployed guy comes back to the farm, you have technically three people working on a farm, but three people working on a farm is not employment as such.
That's right.
Similarly, if you work in a shop belonging to an uncle, because uncle is obliged to carry you on the rolls, but that is not employment, much less regular employment. We are caught in a trap of low growth, widening inequality, and stagnant level of standard of life. So this is where we are.
And there's no focus on how we should be growing in the years to come and what policies to be put in place. I want to give you a statistic which is very alarming. There are 995 million people between the age of 15 to 64. There are 388 million people below the age of 18. there are 365 million people between the age of 18 and 30. And the GER ratio, that is the gross enrollment ratio, is only 28. That is 28 out of 100 in each university.
Yes.
72 are left out. Now, if you look at a country like the United States of America or even China, their emphasis has been on education.
Yes.
Because unless you educate your children, you will not get the kind of growth, because they are the ones who create IPs, which are then translated into goods and services. Now, in the United States of America, they spend $720 billion in research annually. In China, they spend $440 billion. Here, we spend $70 to $80 billion. And we are 1.4 billion people. How will India ever be a growth economy in the absence of investment in education? And that's the question I want to ask.
See, the poor don't have a faith or a stake in higher education.
Yes.
The educated unemployment rate is 29.1%.
That's within the age group of higher age group. I mean, otherwise it's 15 to 20%. But in the age group of 21 to...
Youth unemployment, educated and uneducated, is 45.4%. Educated unemployed, graduates, postgraduate, it's 29.1.
Right.
Now, why would anybody invest in education, time and money, if he's not going to get a job?
Right.
See, the real problem is unemployment, growing inequality, and stagnant standard of life.
83% of the youth are unemployed in this country.
Yes.
83%. What do you say, Yashwantji? How do we...
I'll make a point
Yes.
here, and that is, as you're aware, the maximum employment in our economy has been generated by MSME sector, the medium and small enterprises sector, not so much by the organized sector.
Correct.
I think the figure used to be 93 and 7 at one time, in terms of percentage. Now, the MSME sector had two mortal blows. One was demonetization,
Yes.
and the other was COVID.
That's right.
And it suffered heavily.
I can add a third, GST.
And GST, of course, completely misconceived GST.
Yeah.
So the MSME sector has suffered in the last 10, 11 years, like perhaps no other sector.
That's correct.
And the maximum employment comes from the MSME sector.
That's right.
So you can imagine what happened to employment.
Right.
And I'll make another point, that these figures, why are they not reliable? Because in our system, as PC will confirm, we take a lot of time, 3 years or even more, to get any information from the MSME sector because it's so decentralized. But we imagined that the MSME sector will be growing at the same rate as the organized sector.
Yes.
So we take the organized sector, if it's growing at whatever rate, we'll say the MSME sector is also growing.
That's correct. But you know statistics for the unorganized sector.
We have no statistics, and that relationship between the organized sector and unorganized sector was completely disrupted. One by demonetization and second by COVID.
I know, but that's a very serious issue.
And if I may add, 92% of all MSMEs are micro enterprises.
Right.
They are completely vulnerable. For example, a weak body, even the slightest infection, it will affect the person heavily. So 92% are micro enterprises with low capital, low technology, low marketing, and a low number of employees. Now, if they are affected, they close down. I travel around the countryside, and they tell me, here was a workshop, it's closed. Here was a bakery which is closed. Here was a laundromat, it's closed. They simply closed down. And there's no statistics about how many MSMEs closed down, especially micro enterprises. How many have they been revived? There's no statistics at all. They simply close down and go back to farming or casual work or casual employment or irregular employment.
I have some figure which says that 18 lakh factories were closed down between 2015 and 2023. Now, if this is the kind of closure that's taking place and they are not getting employed anywhere, ultimately there will be, disenchantment and with jobless growth, because the growth really comes from the IT sector, if you ask me. It's the services industry that is growing, which is 57% of our GDP.
But that's a very small...
That's what I mean. So therefore, it's the small that is contributing to the growth, and the larger section of the society is not contributing anything to the growth.
Which is why inequalities
Which is why inequality is rising. And what has this government done about that, and what are the policies in place? None.
I'll give you another figure.
Yes.
Share of manufacturing, value added as a percentage of GDP, the peak was, when the UPA was in power, 2006 at 17%. In 2024, it was 13%.
Yes.
Lowest ever.
That's true.
Since the World Bank.
And they said they'd increase it to 25%, if you remember.
Yes. And on top of that, the Prime Minister has the gumption to tell the country that we have solved the problem of poverty.
That's right.
There are only about 5 crore people in this country who are poor, and he has lifted during his 10, 11 years 25 crore people out of the poverty line. They have gone above. Now, who is going to believe all this?
Right. But tell me, you were foreign minister, you were finance minister. We signed up these bilateral investment treaties, if you remember. And we are renegotiating them now. And the reason why we are renegotiating them was that we had no political clout at that point in time to really negotiate, to ensure that these bilateral investment treaties are treaties which work to the advantage of both countries. And the reason for that is that we are insignificant as a political power. We're totally insignificant. We seem to be isolated in the rest of the world. We don't seem to have any friends anymore. And you were foreign minister from 2002 to 2004. How did you deal with this kind of situation? How relevant were you then, and how relevant do you think India is today?
No, India's standing globally has gone down. Despite all the shenanigans of the Prime Minister in showing that we are Vishwaguru, the fact of the matter is that our standing globally has gone down because we don't exercise any economic heft.
That's right.
Take, for instance, FDI, net flows I'm talking about. 2024, it came down to 0.7% of the GDP,
Right.
which is the lowest since 2004.
That's correct.
The peak was at 3.6% in 2008, again the UPA years.
Right.
But the point I'm making is that fiscal deficit, budget discussions, I'm not in parliament anymore, PC is. But the discussion on the budget in parliament, they have announced the winter session.
No,
How many working days? 15 working days.
It's shocking. That is really
Yes,
truly
so
shocking.
both of you, I don't know what you're going to do in your respective.
But tell me, what kind of political heft did we have earlier, and how has it gone down? I just want to...
You see, earlier we had political heft because we were generally humble in international gatherings. Dr. Manmohan Singh, for example, was very moderate and subdued. But Barack Obama said, when he speaks, the whole world listens.
That's correct.
Because we were not trying to exercise a clout we did not have. I could see the difference. When I first became finance minister in 96, 97, in IMF, World Bank Executive Committee meeting, 21 members, we would be asked to speak. The American finance minister, treasury secretary will speak first, of course, or the central bank governor will speak first. We would be asked to speak, say, about 15th or 16th. But in 2004 onwards, I could see a change. And by 2007, we were invariably the third speaker to speak at that meeting.
I see.
Because we were growing and we had the potential to grow and our investment rate was high. I'll tell you numbers. In 2007-8, the gross fixed capital formation was 35.8, highest. Today it is 30%. Private fixed capital
That's also gone
formation is 27.5 in 2008. It is 23.8.
That's correct.
It's a good 5% lower. At 5% lower investment, what is the use of bilateral investment treaty if no investment is coming?
That's right.
And in fact, in the last 10 years of Mr. Narendra Modi, the GFCF, gross fixed capital formation, is only 28 to 30%. It went down to 20, come down to 30. You don't have new capital flowing into the country. Yashwant Sinha said FDI last year was
It's dropped.
the lowest.
It's dropped. It's come
Less
down
than
from
1%.
1.7% to 0.5%.
Yes, less than 1%.
Yes.
At less than 1%, what kind of a growth you will have?
Right.
And in fact, the numbers don't gel with the investment
Right.
because they play with the other factor and to show growth.
No, but then they are saying that we are becoming an Atmanirbhar Bharat also. What is Atmanirbhar? I have not understood that. In what are we Atmanirbhar? Are we Atmanirbhar? In which sector of the economy are they? Do we make chips? We don't. Do we have rare earth materials? Not. Do we export to the world other than software and nothing else? So how are we Atmanirbhar Bharat? I mean, I have not understood that.
These are all jumlas, as I told you.
No, but what do you mean by can you tell me what you mean by Atmanirbhar Bharat?
Atmanirbhar is self-reliance.
Self-reliant. So how are we self-reliant? Everything we import.
Yes.
So how are we self-reliant? We import from China. Our economy is dependent on the Chinese economy. It's pharmaceutical ingredients we import from China. In the power sector, we import from China. What is it that we don't import from China?
The only thing we are self-reliant is food grains. That is, we are self-sufficient in food grains. Self-sufficient, we grow it in our country. We don't import any more rice or wheat, which is good. But that is
happened in the Green Revolution.
That goes back to that goes back to
so therefore, I've never understood this concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
We are not.
Because I remember in the 60s and 70s, you will remember, that there was this concept of import substitution, right? That we should start manufacturing things in India. Why should we import, right? And this Atmanirbhar Bharat is really a reflection of that. And the import substitution policy completely failed, if I remember correctly.
See, Atmanirbhar is only another way of saying protectionist.
That's correct.
This is because the industrial lobby in India has become so powerful that instead of using self-sufficient, self-reliant, they're using a phrase Atmanirbhar, which is why our tariffs went up, our non-tariff barriers went up, anti-dumping duties are indiscriminately imposed, safeguard duties are indiscriminately imposed. I remember when I left the finance ministry, the average customs tariff was about 8%. It's gone up to 12-13%.
Right.
Therefore, we are a protectionist economy. Protectionist economy, you can't say that in the world. Therefore, you call it Atmanirbhar. We make in India, made in India.
Some part of, I think DRDO does some stuff which
But
makes us.
Make in India is completely failed.
It's completely.
I mean, the figures that we have of manufacturing contributing to the GDP.
As you said, 13%
Yeah.
of GDP.
Manufacturing is contributing 13.1%.
to
It was 17.4% in 2011-12.
Right.
Today, our trade deficit with one country, China, is 100 billion US dollars.
Correct. Correct. That's why I said we are entirely dependent. So
We're
how are we
entirely
Atmanirbhar?
dependent on China.
Yes.
And 174 Chinese companies are registered in India. 3,560 Indian companies have Chinese directors.
That's correct.
That is why this complete dependence on China, and he can't even tell Mr. Xi in his face,
That you've occupied our territory.
your troops intruded in India, you are staying in India. He can't even say
But
that.
this is lal aankh diplomacy, no? No
He
lal
can't
aankh
even say
diplomacy
that.
now.
He has met Mr. Xi several times in the last.
You can't even deny what Trump has been saying 30, 40 times.
That's why he avoids meeting him.
That's right. 3 times he's avoided meeting.
2025, last met him on February 14. He has avoided the last 10 months.
According to me, the most telling example of lack of political heft is the fact that Trump has said that he has promised him, that is Modi ji, has told him that there will be no import of oil from Russia by the end of the year.
Yes.
Right? And we have newspaper reports, and you know that suddenly we've started importing much less. So in other words, our policy to import what we want to import is controlled by another country. So what kind of political heft do we have? I want to
No,
ask.
and that import, Kapil, is also a big scandal.
Oh, that's another matter.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yes.
It has gone on for such a long time now. Nobody in India is bothered about it.
I mean, that's because
But
the
one
companies
thing
are
which
making money.
But apart from that scandal, the point I'm making is we imported Russian oil, crude. It went up from less than 1% to 40% of our total imports.
Correct.
Did we, as consumers in this country,
Get any benefit?
Get any benefit?
No.
No. So where did the money go?
The companies. And then how are political parties financed? These
There you
questions
are.
arise.
There you are. The American Treasury Secretary is on record, Besant, as having said that somebody has made something like $16 billion out of these transactions.
That's correct. And so you've been foreign minister. Let's move on to foreign policy. You've been foreign minister. Today we see that even in our neighborhood, we have very little heft, even in our neighborhood. Forget about the international community.
We have no friends in South Asia.
No friends in South
No,
Asia.
no friends.
We sent parliamentary delegations
Yes.
after Operation Sindoor
Correct.
to dozens of countries, but we did not send a delegation to our neighbors
Yeah.
because all of them did not entertain, or diplomatically they sent word saying we are not willing to receive your parliamentary delegation to bash Pakistan and to extol Operation Sindoor. We should have sent delegation to the immediate neighbors, no?
Yes.
We
And
But
nobody, not a single country stood with us
Correct.
after the Operation Sindoor. Can you
Yes.
name one country? Nepal,
Correct.
Maldives, Sri Lanka,
Nobody.
Bhutan.
Nobody.
Nobody stood with
going
us.
further, all of them in the world sympathized with the victims of Pahalgam.
Yes.
But no country
Condemned
Pakistan.
That's true. That's true. But this
Yes.
is what shows that we have no political heft because our voice in nobody needs us. Economically, of course, now because of the problems with China that Europe is facing, that the United States is facing, we have an opportunity. Because
We
now-
had. That's
No,
gone now with President Xi and Trump making up.
I know, but
You know,
still,
that leverage also we have. we
that's
seem to
true.
have
But
lost.
still, the Europeans want to have an FTA with us. We are negotiating that. We do have a
We are negotiating an FTA with New Zealand also.
with New Zealand also. Yeah, but I mean, at least maybe we can get some advantage out of this because the European economies also want to de-link themselves from the Chinese economy to the extent possible, and also from the Russian economy. Though they import gas very, in huge quantities from Russia, they say that they're going to import less and less in the years to come. But we have some kind of this thing.
See, I don't congratulate praise any government which counts defense imports as trade. Defense imports is I mean, how does it benefit the vast majority of the people of this country? Defense imports benefits our defense, our security, I agree, but it doesn't benefit. You see, its trade must be counted minus defense exports and defense imports. Because the trade which creates jobs, which creates incomes, are nothing to do with defense imports and defense exports.
But that's the area where they say India has become Atmanirbhar because of collaborations on the defense side.
No, but you can become a mighty defense power, but if your people remain poor.
But PC, where is the multi-defense power? Today what has happened is the MiG-21 is going to get obsolete.
MiG-21 is already
obsolete, right? Mirage is the only plane we have.
And the new orders for Rafale.
And correct. And that also is going to become obsolete, Mirage, next year, 2026. Rafale we have, and the Sukhoi is the one that is supplied by Russia, right? But we don't have enough air power to defend ourselves because by next year, the fleets of both MiG-21 as well as Mirage will be over. So we don't even have enough squadrons there.
Air Chief Marshal said that.
Has said that. So we don't have air power. We don't have economic power. We're isolated politically. And yet we are moving forward for a Viksit Bharat. I don't understand that.
No. It all depends on the definition of Viksit Bharat. Unless you get out of the lower middle income country trap, you are not a developed country. You have to move up at least to a middle income country. How can we move up to a middle income country when our investment is low, our growth is low, unemployment is high? How can we move to a middle income country? And this Niti Aayog, which says only 5 crore people, how can it be? Household debt has increased by 40%. Household savings have increased. It's 18.1% of GDP. Household debt
It used to be 30% at one time.
Household debt was 40% of GDP.
Yes.
Household debt has almost doubled.
That's correct.
If people, today's newspaper says the microfinance in Bihar is a economic trap. Once you borrow microfinance, you get deeper and deeper into debt. That's a whole article. Therefore, the point is, if every family has a huge debt, household debt, how can we be only 5%?
That's why the saving rate has gone down.
That's true. That is true.
That saving rate has declined sharply. There was a time when we were domestic savings rate
35%.
36%.
Yes.
It's now 18.
It's now 18%.
So there you are. So we don't have money to invest. We don't have the will to invest. We don't have sectors to invest.
See, what I should congratulate the government is...
At last, PC, at last, you must congratulate for something.
Despite the economic realities, they are control the narrative.
Yeah,
This is what Yashwant said first.
But
they control the narrative.
But
They control the narrative and they dominate the news channels, newspaper space, etc., and their social media. They have got paid trolls.
So you are congratulating them for something that they shouldn't be doing.
Well, they shouldn't be doing, but they are controlling the narrative. There is no alternative
How do you
narrative.
congratulate them for controlling a
Well,
narrative when the media is collaborating with the government
Yeah.
to allow the narrative to be controlled?
That is the
That's
only
not
narrative.
Yeah, but
Only-
that's not,
only narrative.
according to me, that is in fact, if you ask me, that is the biggest failing of democratic India. That the institutional mechanisms of this country, which were put in place under the Constitution, have failed to act independently, are collaborating with the government to create a narrative which is far away from the reality of India and will take India into a trap of extreme poverty unless we truly address the issues of the poor and especially education and health.
And Kapil, new issues have arisen.
Yes,
Because
I'm going to come
technology
to
is
that.
progressing.
Yes.
So what are we doing for developing AI in this country?
I'm just going to come to that.
Yeah,
There's something called STEM, right? STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If you look at the progress of the global community, any country, there is a emphasis on STEM. In other words, in the United States of America, you have millions of PhDs, 400 Nobel laureates from the United States of America, 60% of all the Nobel laureates ever announced, 60% are in America. Why? Because they emphasize education. Because in the universities, you create wealth, you create ideas. We don't have university. We are getting the AB, VP into the university system instead of ensuring that they invest in research and development. And the government of the United States is financing that research. And here they are saying you get your own money. And they are appointing ad hoc teachers. How is an ad hoc teacher in a university ever going to...
There are several universities in India without a vice chancellor.
Exactly.
All universities are starved of money. There's hardly any money given to research.
Right.
The University Grants Commission is actually a university non-grants commission. It's a controlling commission.
Absolutely.
It only plays with the rules and regulations. It doesn't give money anymore.
Like the Finance Commission has also become a controlling commission. That's also true. Now, talking about AI, it's very interesting. In AI, 50% of the high-value patents in AI are controlled by the United States of America in AI blockchain. 50%.
And the second country will be China.
It is going to be China. And not only that, they have 7.8 million military people have been taught in technology so that in the coming years, they are, in a war, if a war ever takes place, they are fully equipped. And they are military veterans who've been taught. And stock exchanges have 50 trillion market cap. That's the state of the economy here. And where are we? So we've done no investment in AI. We don't even have a policy in AI. In fact, we want to block some of the things that are taking place. And litigations are going on in court on that issue. And the finance minister has not done a thing about it.
Same applies to robotics.
And same applies to robotics. And who are the leaders in robotics in the world? Japan. Japan is the leader of robotics. For every 10,000 workers, there are 399 robotics. Japan is number one in robotics. They have, other than human capital, they have nothing else. We have we have human capital, and yet we have nothing else. So the question that we must ask as a nation to ourselves is, why should the government, which builds this narrative, which is completely unrelated to reality, such a government still is in power? Why? Because of the nature of politics in this country. And there you are right. They control the politics of this country. They take over governments, even elected governments, and nobody says a thing.
Though this country, I'm saying it with a great deal of sadness,
Yes.
that people of India have forgotten to ask questions.
Yes.
We just don't ask questions. We are not prepared to question anything.
Yeah.
And that includes the institutions.
It includes most of us. It includes the middle class.
See, the media was freer under the British rule. Because people spoke. I mean, today, if Gandhi was alive and Periyar was alive, they'll be both in jail under one of these laws.
UAPA.
Sedition, UAPA, or PMLA.
Yeah.
They're both of them in jail. The point is the entire media and even one or two guys who are resisting seem to have flipped over the last 10, 15 days. See, before the exit poll is published, all the newspapers are flipped. And how do they know? Even the second phase of voting is not over. But they have all flipped over saying there's no anti-incumbency, there's no anti-Nitish Kumar sentiment, and he's winning. And they have appointed him already a chief minister. Show me one paper, they may be right about the ultimate result, they may be wrong or right, I can't say. But the narrative is that the NDA is winning by a thumping majority. Now, how does a free newspaper or a free TV come to that conclusion even before the second phase of voting is over?
Well, that's their opinion, their analysis, their reporters go there, they give feedback.
No, because the media houses have been taken over by corporates. Isn't that true?
That's absolutely true.
It's absolutely true. So, what else would you expect? I'll tell you a story. I was in the Press Club of India in Delhi, and we had gone to address along with Arun Shourie and Prashant Bhushan on some issue. So at the end of it, when we were having tea, I casually said, I don't know, we have done our bit, but whether the newspapers or media houses will carry what we have said. There was a young journalist who was listening to this, and he told me, sir, would you give me a job if I lost mine as a result of publishing your story?
Yes.
That's correct. That's correct.
And I could do nothing except to, put my hands together and say, please save your job. Don't forget about our story.
Naturally.
Now, this is what is happening to the media at the lower levels. On top, there are corporates, and only those people are flourishing who are prepared to go on with this narrative and contribute to it.
Senior journalists have been sacked once the corporates took over, and they don't have a job.
That's true.
They are running YouTube channels or reporting from some foreign. I don't want to take names, but the names are well known. The most prominent Hindi journalist is without a job.
Yeah.
The most prominent Indian anchor is without a job. Indian anchors are without a job. This is worse for newspapers. Fortunately, the language newspapers, non-Hindi newspapers, are relatively safe because he doesn't feel threatened by the non-Hindi language newspapers because he has no control over those state governments.
That's correct.
But the Hindi newspapers and the English newspapers are entirely captured by the government.
But that's simple. The reason is that they earn their revenues only through government ads.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. Today, the revenues coming to these channels is not from viewership or advertisement, it's from government ads. And if otherwise they'll close. So they'll have to
Government
collaborate.
ads or corporate ads, which
Supporting.
corporates are obliged to.
That's obviously, it's a nexus between the media, the oligarchs in the corporate sector, and the government. And that's how you got the electoral bonds also. So this is that nexus, and you can't break that nexus. Previously, that didn't exist, but today it exists.
You can, if the people of this country vote in state election after state election before 2029, if they vote for a non-BJP party, then you can break this nexus before 2029. Otherwise, this nexus is unbreakable until 2020.
Quite frankly, PC, the nature of the Indian economy, according to me, has become so oligarchic that now just a few houses control the assets of this country.
Yes.
And it's going to be very difficult for any government which comes to power to break that. Because if they try to break that, the economy will go down. So in a sense, it's a very, very serious issue. And I just wanted to close this discussion with your comments on the nature of the new oligarchic network, economic oligarchic network that's set.
As you said, it's an extremely dangerous development which has taken place. The oligarchs are not many.
Yes, exactly.
There are only a few of them, a couple of them maybe,
Yes.
But they control the government, they control the bureaucracy,
Yes.
they control the policies of the government. This is the most dangerous thing,
That's right.
that they control the formulation of policies.
Right.
I know of one of these oligarchs who first, before he enters field of economic activity, gets all the parameters right by changing the policy.
Right.
And then he is assured of his profits, and that's when he goes into it. So there is no risk-taking
Right.
on the part of
And no
these
competition.
oligarchs. No competition.
That's right.
The rules and regulations are rewritten now.
Right.
For example, land rules are rewritten, environmental rules are rewritten, listing rules are rewritten. The institutions are no longer independent. The institutions simply bend over to whatever the government wants. ECI is the one prominent example, but the SEBI, RBI are no longer as fiercely independent as they were even 10, 15 years ago.
But what
I'm
about-
worried about the RBI and the SEBI.
See, now what is happening in the NCLT is also very disturbing. Because if the company goes under and it's up for grabs, then telephone calls are made and said, look, you don't bid or you bid this amount and I'll take over the company. So what do? And then you have a bidding process which is all managed behind the scenes and you get something for a farthing. This is what's happening.
You are aware of the fact that one oligarch set up a power plant in Jharkhand to supply electricity to Bangladesh.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the deal.
Yeah.
Now, because we are having problems, the terms are being tweaked to enable him to supply to
India,
Indian domestic
market.
consumers.
So if huge assets worth crores are being sold, taken over for a farthing, banks take a cut of 60-70% and then loan that money again to that very oligarch which takes over the asset. What are you doing with public money? So you're using public money to benefit the corporate sector and the big corporate players, right? It's not going into development. It's not going into dealing with poverty. It's not going into education. It's not going into health. It's not going into fixed assets as a ratio of GDP. Private investment is not coming. FDI has gone down, and yet you have Viksit Bharat. You're on the road to Viksit Bharat. Where are we going to go?
And these corporates are borrowing on the strength of the value of their shares.
Yes.
That if my share is valued at this
Correct.
level,
Correct.
then I'm entitled to this much money.
And the LIC is also
Yeah.
contributing in a very big way. So that's again
One
public
rating
money.
agency has termed the Indian market as overweight.
Yes, it's true.
Indian market is overweight today. Because of the manipulation in the share trading, the share prices are going up.
Yes.
But that is not a true reflection of the worth of the company.
It's not a true reflection of the worth of the economy also, if you ask me, not just the company. The share market doesn't reflect the real state of the economy.
No, not at all.
Yes.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But the investor is happy because the share market goes up,
That's
his paper wealth goes up.
And he borrows more in that process. That's borrowed from the public, from us people who pay taxes. And very few of us pay taxes anyway. So that's where we are. But I don't want to end on a despondent note. the politics of this country has to change. It's only when the politics changes that we can do something for the economy and something for people at the bottom of the pyramid and for education and health to make it truly the Viksit Bharat that we want in 2047.
I expect the politics of this country to change.
Yes, I hope so.
But the next 4 or 5 elections in 2026 gives a ray of hope. It's in Tamil Nadu,
Yes.
Kerala,
West Bengal.
Bengal, where the BJP won't given
They may send some people from Haryana to West Bengal.
the only state where they can win is Assam.
No, I think Assam today,
But Assam is
my feedback is that he's
yeah.
not in a very happy position.
but the only state because
Yeah.
of the Chief Minister Hemanta Biswas. He's a past master in.
Yeah, he's following in the footsteps, so you know.
So that is why, PC, I was making the point that maybe it's not 2029, maybe it's earlier.
Maybe it's earlier. That's
But there are more elections in 27, 28.
That's right.
Gujarat and some Hindi states, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh are all coming. Therefore, if there should be a domino effect of the elections in 24, 25 hopefully, certainly 26, then I think this very pessimistic scenario that you have built may not happen. There is some light at the end of the tunnel if the states, because the Lok Sabha election won't happen before 2029.
That's true.
But we can't survive another 4 years of this tepid growth
No way.
and manipulated statistics. So my hope is that the state elections will jolt this country.
Well, let's end with this hopeful note. Thank you, both of you, for being with me
Thank you.
today.
Thank you, Yashwant Sinha.